Welcome to the One More and I'm Out of Here podcast, coming to you from the Illegal Shift Studio. It is another excellent day to have a podcast. We haven't had one in a little while because Jason's been out of town. I don't know what Pappas has been doing.
Don't worry about it.
I'm not worried about it. I'm Dan Carroll. Let's open a beer. First one today. And can I tell you guys a little story that happened to me on the way to the podcast today? You want to hear a little story?
Please do. Probably going to do it anyway, so yes.
So I'm driving home after my radio show today. I was in for Bill Cunningham. And I'm driving home, and I'm driving past the car wash in Newtown there. And a lot of cars in the car wash today. And I drive past it, and I see this van. It's a work van, obviously. And on the side of the van, it reads Handy Maid Service.
Oh.
Which I thought was an interesting name for a maid service.
Oh.
And somewhere on there it said happy endings. You know, you'll be I'm just kidding about that part. But I thought that was a clever name. And I'm thinking maybe there's a little bit more going on than, just a little, dusting and vacuuming.
Happy endings.
Yeah. So I thought, you know what?
Dandy handy.
I'm going to pull in there and tell the person driving the van that, I thought this is a very clever thing for a business. So I stopped in there and I'm talking to the driver of the van and somehow Andrew's name came up in conversation.
You are full of shit.
And
you are full of shit.
And so this gal said that she used to go out with Andrew Pappas, and so I got a little video of her, and we were talking about current events.
This is what you're doing to me. This was a surprise that they're fucking hitting.
And here's what she had to say about current events.
Great.
So let's hear one of Andrew's.
My parents.
Andrew used to date this gal.
My
It's
parents
fantastic.
are
Well, this might not be a
It's
popular
really
topic,
fantastic.
but I
Here
have
we go.
an opinion about the military. I don't like that we give our military guys 10% discounts and different things at different businesses because they're already living off the taxpayer dollar.
Oh,
And
I hate everything.
some of
about
them
you.
get benefits, on different places
You're
throughout their
such a
life, even after
shithead.
they're not serving. So even if they went and served a year, they're like, oh, I still get a discount for the rest of my
Observe
life.
the midriff area.
I'm looking at the midriff area.
We're paying for those
I'm amazed that the
taxes for
seatbelt
our
had that
life.
much
And we
material
get
in
no
it.
break. We get no benefit for supporting
It doesn't
our
go over her
military
shoulder, even
and
though-
for
No,
paying
they
for them
can't.
all these years.
There's
You
not
realize
enough.
when you're talking, they can barely hear.
It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense to me. They get benefits for so many different things. And then they can still go on base even after they're out. And they can get tax-free food.
Who gave
buy it on
Jabba
base.
a phone?
I don't know. I don't even know all this stuff that happens that they get all these benefits. But
All right, that's enough. That's enough of that. But and so
Oh my
Andrew
God.
shares her thoughts on members of the military getting discounts and
Yeah,
whatnot.
right.
So I just
Right.
so that bring back some good memories for you there, Andrew.
I hate everything about you.
I was wondering where he was going to try to fit that in there. And I wonder where Andrew tried to fit that in.
Well, I'm glad her panis was protected by the belt because that's all that was protected. I didn't know they made seatbelts that long, but she'd fit right in with the local Democrat club. I think she would be well at home in the Anderson Flavians.
You know a lot of those. You know a lot of those women.
Some
think
some live in my neighborhood, and
you might have dated a few of them.
I did not date. There's not enough. We used to call that in Texas "coyote ugly," and there's not enough beer.
But listen to
Our buddy David J says, I don't get enough discounts as a military member since I'm getting taxed on taxpayer money and making a salary. Isn't that funny?
But what kind of shitty attitude is that for that bitch to have about our men and women in the military? Oh, I pay my taxes and I pay their salaries. They shouldn't get discounts.
Yeah.
What a clown.
And it's not how many people, and we all know many, many good people in the services. But I don't know of any that go in and get wealthy. Do you, Dan? You were in the service.
Not like some members of Congress do.
No,
Not at all.
Like some
Yeah.
members of Congress.
I think there may be a very few in the upper management who get onto the grift. Mark Milley may be one of them.
Yeah, I think
People
once
like
you get,
that.
I think once you get, you're
Yeah.
in it for that long and you're that high up, there's probably the propensity. Look it up for that to happen. But I mean, giving a military discount, I mean, that's what she's going to get bent about, and then go on social media and make herself look like a fool. Well, first of all, she probably would be better served not having the video on.
I already deleted it. I meant to look at it to see how many quote unquote extras that she has.
Yeah, she's
her and all her cat friends that they meet monthly.
That's right. She had to go to Walmart to fill.
You can smell the cat urine.
Yeah, through the video. You could. She's got a giant jar of peanut butter and 30 cats at home.
I don't think you're wrong. I don't think you're far off
at all. Kitty. Where's the damn cat noises? Where's the damn cat noises when I need it? So anyhow, bad kitty. You don't know my luck. I'll be stuck next to her on my next flight, like on a regional jet. That's a person that I'm coming down the aisle, and I'm like, please, Lord, no, not this row, not this seat.
I watched the One More Than Out of Here podcast.
I want to talk to you about something that you said.
Hey, I was somewhere. Where was I? There we go. There's the kitty. God, I was somewhere. Where the hell was I? I was somewhere recently, and some guy comes up. He goes, "One more, and I'm out of here." And I was like, "Yeah, fan.
Baby. How about that?"
I was like, "Right on, brother." So we have a fan out there. One.
One locally.
It's been
one
a little
locally.
Hey,
prison, or was it prison or the
prison?
the,
It wasn't
the
my
Vivek
prison
the
visit.
Vivek rally?
No, I was at the Vivek rally. It was not there. It was somewhere. I can't remember. It might have been K. Rogers. I'm not sure. K. Rogers.
But for those of you who don't know, just remember it's Vivek like cake.
That's right. It's not
People,
Vivek.
how do you say it?
Yeah.
How do you Vivek?
Yeah.
Vivek?
Yeah.
Vivek like cake.
Yeah.
I
So
like Vivek.
I was there yesterday. I like him too. His speech was very. If you listen to it, who did you guys listen to his speech?
I listened to bits and pieces of it. I like the part where he talked about bringing back the insane asylums.
Yeah, that's needed.
I think that's needed. Did he talk about orphanage as well?
He did not mention orphanages.
The one thing that Vivek is very big on, and which I think is an issue that gets overlooked in far too many circumstances, is education.
That's right. It was.
He is from a family that puts a very high value on education.
Right.
He puts a very high value on education, and the fact he's a genius on top of it has worked out very well for him. But to have some leadership like that, where this guy's not afraid to talk about education and the many failings that we have in public education, and I think he is a guy that if he got whatever power the governor would have over education in this state, I think he would take that very seriously. Yeah, I think too many politicians on both sides of the aisle give lip service to that issue and talk about how important it is to them, and then when the rubber hits the road, they're leaving it up to other people.
The one thing I will say, he touched on a lot of things. It was a good speech, and you know what? The impressive thing about his speech, no notes.
Yeah.
Just no teleprompter, just off the cuff, which is, the telltale sign of great intelligence and ability. And it flowed very well. But he did have a lot, he wants to bring the state income tax to zero, which is, fine, a great goal. The other thing was that he wanted to do was to totally do away with property taxes. And I was like, well, that's probably, and look, I'm a fan, but I don't think that's an attainable. I don't think that's something that's going to be attainable in this lifetime.
It's a big idea of grandeur.
It's a big idea. And now let me say
didn't
this.
he say that if you're paying taxes on your property, then you never really own it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that is true. I mean, to a certain degree, I mean, at some point, for some people, your taxes probably approach, at least maybe, a mortgage payment. I mean, depending on the property and depending on where it's at, I mean, that's being that, you pay off your property, let's say it's free and clear, but you still really have a mortgage because you're paying your property taxes to the state. So I do agree with that. I will say, having lived in a state that has, I do approve of the message. I just don't see where the funding would come from. Having lived in a state that has no state income tax, What I do notice, and that's Texas has no state income tax.
But your sales tax is
Your sales tax is through the roof. And so, there is no free lunch.
Yeah.
There is the government, for all intents and purposes, like it or hate it. The problem is that, they need money. And so they have to have a funding mechanism, whether you like it or not. That's just the cold, hard reality. I do think, though, I do agree with him. I think that, at the very minimum, I would love to see something here in Ohio. And I think this could get a lot of traction because I think people would like his idea of no property taxes, but they also are realistic enough to know that's probably not attainable. I would love to see some relief or protection for seniors because I think what we're doing, especially here, and let's bring it to the local level, which I always like to do, but here in just good old Anderson Township, every time there's for example, our park board put a new to them levy on the ballot, the last ballot, new to the township. We're pricing our seniors out of. It's not fair to our seniors to keep raising their property taxes and essentially giving them the finger and say, well, if you don't like it, move. These people have lived their whole lives here. Here we go with the lights again.
I know.
Just like those damn military members getting all those breaks.
But I mean, think about it. You're
10% off at McDonald's and on a cup of coffee.
You get a free coffee? Are you shitting me?
For example, you got. I have a senior in my neighborhood who we help out through different methods, and you're on a fixed income, and when I loathe when people levies come up, they're like, well, it's only $10 per 100 or $100 per 100,000 or whatever it might be. Hey man, that's $100 you don't have, in a fixed income until you're living on a fixed income, and everyone is to a certain degree, but when you don't have any income coming in and you're relying on, your social security check or whatever, that's a tough road to hoe. And, the only way to offset the increase in those property taxes is to reduce your expenses. And sadly, a lot of times that's, turning the thermostat down, traveling less gas maybe, or adjusting your eating habits that you're not, I don't see a whole lot of older folks crowding the fine restaurants of Cincinnati. I don't think they're going out to dinner all the time.
Well, the last two comments that you just made really, really offended me and your ex-girlfriend is the fact that you said hoe and fixing eating habits. I'm just saying, she's going to be really, really mad.
Well, you know what? That's why she has 30 cats and a large jar of peanut butter. So she'll be happy once she gets home. Anyway. But no, I think that I like Vivek. Getting back to Vivek, I like him. He's got energy. He's got charisma. He's very well educated. And I think he definitely, and he has the Trumpster. The Trumpster endorsed him. So we shall see what happens. I do have, I do feel not necessarily, I wouldn't say that I feel I can commiserate with Dave Yost, who's a good man and is running, is running for governor as well. And I guess we'll see what happens. I would like to see some way that maybe there could be some sort of position that Dave agrees to take so we don't have a fight on our hands, but we'll see what happens.
He's been an outstanding attorney general.
He has,
I think, in the state of Ohio.
Yeah, he's a good man. Dave Yost is a good guy.
And on the food chain, I really think attorney general is really number 2 in the state of Ohio to governor when it comes to name recognition, when it comes to your importance throughout the state. I think it goes governor, and then I don't know how many people pay attention to the office of lieutenant governor, but when it's governor, and then at least maybe different in other states, but attorney general is where a lot of people make their political hay before going on to governor or going on to some other office, whether
Absolutely.
it's Congress or the Senate.
And Dave Yost has been a very good attorney general. So
there were a lot of people that were freaking out, when Vivek.
Cake.
Like cake.
I just like to piss Dan off. But when he stepped out of Doge, everyone's like, oh, well, him and Elon aren't getting along, blah, blah, blah. He had a plan. He already had a plan in place.
Yeah.
Like this shit's marched out, months beforehand. And people just don't, a lot of people do, but a lot of people don't understand. And that's just local people that I've talked to that didn't realize, like, oh, well, he's just not wanted there.
Yeah, they thought they well, you know, they're any well, like they tried to say that there's a, you know, that like the left tries to make a big deal that there's a rift between Musk and Trump, and then they have to go on a, you know, a talk show together and show, you know, it's not going to work. You're not going to drive a wedge between us. And then that's the same thing they were doing with this.
Exactly.
So, you know, the guy had a plan, came back here to Ohio, and now he's running. He's you know, running for governor, which is a great stepping stone. Now,
I think it's going to be awesome.
It is going to be awesome, but you know, he said a lot of really good things. He has a lot of pride in Ohio. He is definitely the living embodiment of the American dream. I mean, his family came here with literally nothing, and you know, look at him now. So I just really think that it's a good thing. We have, you know, it's a good place to be in. We have good candidates. The sad thing is that you have good men running for the same position, and someone you don't have room for both, right?
Well, and you actually have a decent race.
Well, you do, and contrast that with the other side. You know, we have Amy Acton running for governor.
Oh my God!
Amy Acton is going to be the Democrat probably nominee for governor. I'm sorry if Ohio. If the people of Ohio are so stupid that they elect Amy Acton, whose claim to fame was she shut down the economy of Ohio for how long, Dan? I mean, like 2 years?
Yeah, I got an unsolicited solicitation from her campaign the other day, asking me to donate money to the campaign, right? And it said something, hey, you know, will you come out and support Amy, and you know, blah 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 this, and you know, I don't think anyone reads actually. You know, if there's money attached to it, they look at it. But if there's no money attached to it, they just probably get. I don't know what happens to it. It's just some computer bot. But my response was, you know, I remember you from the Wuhan.
Yeah.
You know, I remember you were drunk on power.
Yeah.
How you were giddy at the fact that you could tell people to do things and they actually did it, which is something you've never experienced in your career before. And you know, you took Mike DeWine down the wrong path.
Well, yeah.
And so I said, no, I said, I hope you lose. I won't be voting for you.
And I'll be actively working against
Please don't contact me again.
I will do everything in my power to make sure it's
walk
not
through
you.
fire to make sure it's not you. Yeah. So it's funny because, you know, she has no political experience either.
God, but
She's never been elected.
How great will it be to see if Vivek gets on a debate stage with her?
Oh God. If I was her, I would, you know, I would make sure that didn't happen. I would make every excuse possible not to the guy is sharp as a tack. And you know, the other thing about him that I do like, that's different, and he's not a politician, which I like that. He is very easy to debate the other side because he's pleasant to the other side. He's not a mean debater. He doesn't, but he's forceful, and he's firm, and he's knowledgeable. So he can, I think he'll reach some Democrats when he has his arguments, because he did say, you know, he wants to include independents, even moderate Democrats that want just, you know, better for the, you know, we can disagree on policy, but we can remain civil to each other. He's a very good in that regard. But
the thing is, he could verbally eviscerate anyone he wanted to. I mean, he's got such great recall of facts.
Oh yeah.
And just has such a devastating way of delivering those facts.
Yeah. Sure.
And he can, and so if he wanted to, you know, he could totally unload on someone, but he tends to show a lot of restraint when he gets.
Well, you can unload on him in a way that destroys them and destroys their argument, but it's not mean. It's just factually based, because he does have recall. And like I said, he gave a speech probably close to, I mean, it was on the longer side. I'm not criticizing. I'm just saying it was a longer speech. No notes. That's hard to do, fellas. I mean, I don't care who you are. That's hard to do.
What would you say?
Even hard for me.
What would you say the turnout yesterday was?
There was 5 million people there.
No, it wasn't.
There's 500,000 people there.
No, there wasn't.
Okay, there was a bunch. What was the name of the place? Something Aerospace, CTL Aerospace. I think that was it. It was up in Westchester. It was crowded. It was very crowded. How many people? It's difficult to say. It was a warehouse. Hard to gauge what the capacity was. I'd say probably somewhere close to 300 to 500, which for a announcement for the governor's race in any state, that's a big deal. I mean, let's
And
say
he literally just announced his, because he was going there, St.
Yeah,
Albany,
yeah.
and then I can't remember the third place.
somewhere up north.
But
in,
I was up in Michigan when that announcement came out, and I was like, oh fuck, can't go. Can't
Well,
make
I
it.
mean,
But
no,
I wanted to be there, but
well, I mean, I was there for you and for One More and I'm Out of Here. So I wore my One More and I'm Out of Here shirt.
no, you didn't.
Okay, I didn't because I don't have one. But anyway, I wanted to. I'll make one.
I wanted to.
I will make one. I'll have to make a shirt.
I think it's exciting for us.
It's exciting for Ohio.
We're
'cause I
done.
think-
We're done with DeWine. I mean, DeWine's obviously has to be done, but the state of Ohio is done with DeWine, and to have
I'd like to remind everybody there would be no Amy Acton if DeWine didn't appoint her to be
right.
the health czar or whatever the frick she was. Not a real. Now, I just remember those stupid press conferences. they
You know
had
what?
every
I gave up
goddamn
on
day.
them. I think I might have watched the first couple of them, and I said, if this is all the better it's going to get,
Just standing
I
there
stopped. I stopped watching it. And the thing is, it was every day. There was the daily press conference from the White House.
every day.
Then you had the daily one from Columbus. Then you had the daily one from Kentucky. And about 2 or 3 days into it, I just stopped. I gave up on it. I wasn't interested. The whole notion that the government had all this power, and was able to, convince the American people that we needed to turn our eyes to Washington, D.C. or Columbus, Ohio,
They know best.
every day,
Right.
to get updates or directives on how to live our lives and conduct business and all the rest of it, just did not sit well with me. And I really thought the whole thing was a wrong-headed exercise in them seeing not how much power they could amass, but how much power they could wield. And how much authority they felt like they had over the American people, and I think far too many Americans acquiesced.
Oh God, yes.
to their demand.
Do you remember all the Karens and even here locally?
Yeah.
Do you remember all the Karens being like, "You're not 5 feet away," or was it 6 feet? I don't
6
fucking remember. Where's your mask? Where you like drop
Yep.
dead? I remember. Do you know how many complaints they submitted to the city because my dry cleaner didn't have masks, and they're
Oh,
like,
for
and it would
God's
be
sake.
like, "Oh, Trustee Pappas's business. They're not wearing masks." I'm like, it's 120 degrees in here. What do you want me to do? These people are working under these conditions that you've deemed us to be essential, so we're open, and yet like a virus could survive a dry cleaning environment.
Not
Are you
gonna
out of your
happen.
mind? But
Can't
all these
can't
Karens-
survive within 5 feet of you.
well, really, and then how? I mean, God, people are going to look back on this period, the stupidity of having arrows pointing down the aisles of which way you're supposed to walk and be 6 feet apart. And that number was pulled out of Fauci's ass.
Such a bad point in time for our fucking
Our
country and world.
civilization
and world.
and our world. And
Yes.
and the other thing is, to be fair, look, I wish Trump, back in the day, remember how badly, and the left is just so funny about forgetting things, but Trump says something about ivermectin. They're like, yeah, the horse medicine. What are we, a bunch of horses? Well, guess what? You know what? Look at history now.
Yeah.
What turns out to be a good treatment for it? Oh, ivermectin. Go figure.
And hydroxychloroquine.
Right. And they're sitting there saying, oh, Trump's not a doctor. He doesn't know. Oh, he wants to
Joe
inject.
Rogan went
Right.
with it for. He was all about it.
And then they're like, and then they're like, oh, he wants to put bleach in your eyes. He's an idiot. But and that's what neutered. That's what, and we can't cut off travel to China. That's xenophobic. Well, it was exactly the right thing to do at exactly the right time, because it turned out to be the Wuhan virus that Dan refers to it as. And the other thing is, what pisses me off even more, that kept Trump from doing what I wanted him to do, which was just frickin' elbow Fauci right in the frickin' head at those stupid daily press conferences that they had.
Just throat punch it.
And I wish DeWine had never appointed, this Amy Acton is really DeWine's creation. And it's frustrating as a Republican to now have to deal with the fallout. That's probably why it's a good idea that when you're a party member or your party has placed you in a position, you probably are loyal to your party and you'll appoint people of the same, I don't know, mindset or at least political persuasion to other positions in your administration rather than saying, I'm going to reach across the aisle. I'm going to put a Democrat in here. Well, how's that working out for Ohio now that this doofus is going to be the Democrat nominee for governor?
I was going to say, is there anyone else in that primary?
I don't know. There'll probably some other idiot pick an idiot. I mean, the last idiot
Connie Pillage?
Oh, Jesus. Too soon? I don't know.
Probably too soon.
All right.
Well, let me ask you this. I mean, they had the last idiot was the mayor from Dayton, and she just got shellacked. She was a buffoon.
What was her name again? I can't even remember her name.
Tweedledum.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. But I mean,
she got compared with as the Drinking Bros call her, Gretch the Wretch from up in Michigan.
The wretch is. She is the wretch.
as she got kidnapped, quote unquote. But the same bullshit that the Dayton mayor was doing. Yeah, when the shootings happened, and I'm cleaning up this town. Well, she didn't do shit. She didn't clean up anything. She didn't even clean up her own fucking garbage.
No, so I mean, I do get annoyed, and to be fair, I mean, I have, that's my biggest remembrance, and not fond of those daily press conferences with DeWine standing there with that ignoramus.
Yeah, it was terrible.
And then also Trump standing there with frickin' Fauci.
And it wasn't good. It wasn't good TV either.
It was terrible.
Yeah,
terrible.
It was horrible.
But there was no work to do. So what else were you doing? Watching reruns of what? Nothing. It was a sad period.
I was at the firehouse trying to figure out what mask I was supposed to wear because I had a bag of a full face respirator. I had an N95, and then nobody knew. And this isn't a slight on my higher ups. Nobody knew.
Well,
they're like, wear what you're comfortable with.
Right. Where to? Remember Fauci? Hey, if one's good, where to? Right. Fucking idiot. I mean, just a fucking idiot.
No, I remember those days. I was doing a lot of radio during those days, and the news conference would come on, and then I was like a government employee for the next hour and 20 minutes or 30 minutes, whatever it was, sitting there with my feet up doing nothing, twiddling my thumbs, and then as soon as it was over, I would move on to a different subject. If there was really something that was legitimately newsworthy, I would recap that. And only that.
And there very little was.
Yeah, on a day-to-day basis. It was an update on how many are dead, how many in the hospital.
Yeah. Hey, the funny thing, now that you mentioned that, remember, did you hear it? Because you've been doing the news lately. You've been doing shows lately. So top of the hour news, I noticed here in Ohio, I was in my basement doing some work. So top of the hour news, the flu deaths, the last is it 2 weeks or 2 months have been higher?
That was a big story a couple days ago.
Than they were during COVID. Well, are we shutting down the economy again here in Ohio because the flu deaths have surpassed the COVID deaths last couple of months?
I don't know.
I mean, is that not a legitimate question?
It is. I think it is.
But, they mentioned that at the top of the hour. They're like, and then the flu deaths the last. And don't get me wrong. I've known a lot of people that gotten this bout of flu, and it was pretty bad, right? We've all had someone that's been afflicted. But are we discussing shutting down the economy to, just stay safe? Are we staying 6 feet apart? We haven't wearing. I do notice there are some more people wearing. There's some maskholes walking around Kroger. I do.
Oh yeah.
There's maskholes. But whatever.
It's a fucking sickness. It was a sickness before.
That's right. If one condom's good, 2 are better. That's right. That's right. Just wear 2. We
got to work on that sponsorship.
Well, remember the phrase the double bagger, one for you and one for her in case hers falls off. It's almost like that.
Oh my God!
Sorry, Bosco.
That's good.
So we have a lot of news, and it's been a while since we've gotten together. I think one of my favorite stories as of late, if you guys want to jump in it, because I know we have the video, the firing of Joy Reid. I mean, I was torn apart. Yeah. I was torn.
I got to figure out which one that is.
I knew you were smiling when you were getting ready to say. I was waiting to see the lips start to curl up.
Well, there's a lot of people on the news that really.
She is a racist.
Oh,
she is a bigot and a racist
and dumb. I mean, on top of everything, first and foremost, she's dumb.
Yes.
Secondly, she's a bigot. She's a racist. No question. And thirdly, she doesn't even play to. Dan's getting comfy here. You getting a little hot, making you hot. Oh my God, we can't unsee that.
Oh God.
Oh my God.
Now we're getting censored on.
Jeez,
now we're getting banned again.
Get banned.
We're getting banned again.
There he goes. Dan taking his shirt. Let's watch it because we're on a delay here. Look at that. All that. Take it in, ladies. Take it all in.
There you go. Let's get a little warm in here.
But No, Joy Reid should have been yanked off the air probably eons ago, and much like The View should be shit canned. I'm very torn, and her reaction, and I think we have her reaction. We're going to play here.
Great.
It's so delicious. So enjoy this.
No fair. My body, my choice. Well, here's an alternative thought. Make your own dinner, MAGA. Make your own sandwiches. Wipe your own tears. Troll amongst yourselves with Elon and leave us alone. You got your heart's desire, the president you dreamed of and worship instead of Jesus. And this time, you didn't even have to storm the Capitol, smash the windows, or try to kill police officers or issue death threats to poll workers. See, you did it just by voting this time. Congrats. You got your way. And he even got away with breaking the law. Yay.
My show had value. And that, I'm sorry, that what I was doing had value. And in the end, I try not to cry on TV. And I said this, I like being on TV, so I apologize. And then it mattered. I see Karen is there, and she's been texting me as well. And so what I will just say is that in the end, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
So smug, so arrogant.
My show added value.
Just those
so
two
self-righteous,
and then whose tears did she say to wipe up?
So condescending,
delicious
to the average viewer,
right?
And when reality hits home for them, well, then we're supposed to take a different tact on this, right? I mean, how many times did she talk about white tears?
I'm going to relish every one of her tears.
Yeah,
every one of her tears.
I mean, I'm okay. She's going to be fine.
What do you mean? She's going to be fine. She'll be picked up by some other.
That's what I'm saying. Someone else will pick her up.
She'll get some podcasts on.
She'll get some other gig going.
Well, I don't care if she does or does not. I'm just happy that at the end, if someone wants to pay her money to keep spewing that bilge, now maybe they'll add a seat at The View.
I was a little surprised to find out her contract was only a little over $3 million a year.
$3 million.
There's a lot of people. There's a lot of people in that business at that level that make a whole hell. And Rachel Maddow being one of them.
Yeah, Rachel Maddow
makes a hell of a lot more money.
So funny you mentioned him. He was on, and he was bemoaning and even insinuated that her firing was racially motivated.
There's who knew there was rampant racism over at MSNBC.
Yeah, did she volunteer? Did she volunteer any of her salary to maybe keep her coworker on? No, she didn't.
Amazing how self-preservation kicks in.
Maybe she's the racist.
I don't know.
We don't know.
I don't know.
I love the fact that I saw him say.
Well, he's a really good host on there. I mean, have you seen Rachel Maddow lately? Like,
oh my God!
I'm sorry. I'm not sorry.
No, you're not. No, as you should not be.
No, it's just not. But whatever.
Dan,
I'm sure.
Where you want to go next, Dano?
Yeah.
Well, there was a big story that broke. Actually, before we get to this, let's. I sent you a clip of Trump, and this is actually a couple of days old, but I like this clip a lot because it's Trump, and the thing that caught my eye on this was on social media. There was some dude who was trying to talk about, you all made fun of Biden when he didn't know what was going on. And so this guy is making a big deal about the fact that Trump didn't know there were elections happening in Germany, and so he got asked about it by a reporter, and the guy who sent the clip out is trying to act as if we have double standards because as if we held Biden to one standard, and because Trump is such a low IQ buffoon that we hold him to a different standard. But the way he answers this question from the reporter, to my way of thinking, is just absolutely classic.
Tam Spade. By the way, let me just point out that the little emoji or icon that this guy that posted is, it's like a Grateful Dead looking. I can't see it. It's very small, but scary lawyer guy. Scary lawyer guy. That's exactly what I want by.
Yeah, I mean, and
That's what Tucker Carlson used to call Michael Avenatti.
would scary. Remember Mike Avenatti? Remember when he was the keynote speaker at the local Cincinnati Democrats had him that you went and paid.
Did they really?
Oh yeah,
They brought him in.
You don't remember that?
No, I don't
Michael
remember that.
Avenatti came in. He was their keynote speaker for a fundraising dinner
Oh,
they
my
had here
God.
in Cincinnati. And all the Democrats went trotting over, paid $500 to $1,000, which is more than that guy was ever worth, and to go listen to that doofus give a dinner speech at somebody's house here. Yes, I very well remember. See, I
Oh, my
remember
God.
some things and what Democrats do locally and nationally. I tend to remember. So yeah, they all went over to Michael Avenatti and all had pictures taken with them, which they then scrubbed from their social media when he got prosecuted and convicted, and then went to jail.
Yep.
Remember,
I
was going to be.
I do remember that.
Yeah, remember he was the top at the time. He was, I believe, the top. Before Biden, I think it was. He was the top guy to be the Democrat nominee.
I mean,
Michael Avenatti.
is there anyone who's more of a poster boy for flavor of the month than Avenatti?
The other thing I'd like to ask, scary lawyer guy, scary. How? First of all, guys, it's been a little over a month. How many press conferences and back and forth with the media? I mean, minutes. I mean, we should calculate. There should be a running tab that Trump has had with the media to date.
Yeah.
It's endless. He is not scared to talk to the media. Now, yeah, he's had a row with AP, and I hope that gets worked out because I think long-term it's not a good thing. So I heard that there was a judge that ruled on that he should let AP back in the deal. And to be fair, I don't disagree with that.
Just learn how to behave.
Yeah, but I mean, Trump
learn
is
how to
not
behave and you
scared
can
of the
come in there.
media. Trump is interacting with the media at a level that Democrats have let go for the last 4 years.
Yeah.
And he's having it at the real White House, not the fake White House that was in a studio across the street so that he could act.
I don't think he's used that a single time.
He has not.
And I doubt that he will.
I doubt that he will.
Here's the video.
Germany has elections on Sunday. What are your thoughts? What do you expect to happen in the elections on Sunday?
Who has elections?
Germany.
Oh, Germany. I wish them luck. We got our own problems.
Why that's even a fucking issue?
I love that though.
It's not an issue.
But you said it to me, and I was like, I was trying to.
Well, the thing is,
I tried to decipher your emails of like where you're going, like where you're trying.
Well, there's too many times when in the
but I do
past,
like it. Yeah,
and
we got our
currently,
own shit.
When politicians, a reporter will throw a question up there, and they genuinely don't know. And instead of saying, you know what, I don't know, I got to look at that. There's far too many who will try to weasel their way around it, give a non-answer, act as if they're aware of whatever it is, and try to give some answer that in the end winds up making no sense at all.
Just
Trump,
where it's like Kamala did?
Well, yeah, but Trump didn't know they were having elections. And he said, who? Germany?
Well, the reason he didn't know is because they'd been postponed. So
yeah, but so what? But his point was, look, I don't care about what happens. What he was saying there is what happens in Germany. Whoever wins that election is not going to make any difference to Trump.
Yeah.
Trump is going to have his own policy when it comes to Germany. It doesn't matter who's in charge, and that's what he was saying. I mean, that is small time fish to fry when you compare the other stuff that he's got on his plate. And I love that
in
reaction.
the last month. A month and month and 5 days.
Yeah.
What he's gotten done.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna share this picture that Elon Musk posted. Got done last week.
Yeah.
Cried about Trump. Cried about Elon.
Yeah. Andrew, do you have your 5 bullet points from what you did last week?
Made it into the office for once. Read some emails. Cried about Trump and Elon some more.
Yeah, I saw that. That was awesome. That was awesome. So they did send out an update on that little story. As Elon sent out a backup email or a second email, giving them I think another 2 days, but they do want them to respond.
What is so hard?
Man, I don't know.
What's so hard about saying yes? Here's what I do. It reminds me of the movie Office Space.
If I had to think of 5 things that I've done, what is it? Last week, just getting up count. I mean, come on.
That's a lot for you. I mean, we pray for it every day, but some people don't.
I think
how hard is it to say, here's what I do on a daily basis while I'm working from home under your guise of federal government, where it reminds me of Office Space. Well, it says here's my day, Bob. I show up about 15 minutes late. I walk around, I get some coffee. Yeah, whatever. I'm completely misquoting it, but
I'm just happy that we have an administration that is focusing on the waste and total ineptitude of the government and acknowledges it. And look, I think there's a lot of good that government does. I'm not going to lie to you. I think that there's functions that they do well. None jump to mind right now, but I think there's things that the government does well. We do need government. Okay, we do, but to make the assumption that, or at least make the argument that we can't cut government jobs, why? Where is that written in stone that once there's a government job that it can't be, somehow examined for its efficiency, effectiveness, and then, curtailed or eliminated? Where is that argument? Where is that written in stone? I don't know. And like they showed these clowns. You know what the big story was? Every time I opened up my computer, they hung a flag upside down at Yellowstone Park. As they're really mad that Trump's making cuts. Blah 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 blah. Who gives a shit? 5 people do something, it makes national news.
Well, thank God that those employees had the wherewithal to get up there and do that. I mean, I think that compared to what they probably do on a daily basis, it's probably pretty impressive.
Well, if they had the time, like you just said, like your point, if they had the time to get up there, first of all, you're going to Yellowstone to see the natural beauty. Well, what do these chumps do? They go hang an American flag upside down on El Capitan, which kind of is, it is the American flag. I don't have a problem with the American flag on display, but even if it was right side up, people aren't going there to see the American flag draped on the natural beauty of the place, right?
Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah. So, but they're like, oh, look at them, they're making a statement. How brave. Well, you know what? I'd take those 5 people and I'd shit can them, every one of them.
Well, if you're an employee of the National Security Agency, the Central Intelligence Agency, or the Defense Intelligence Agency, you could have responded to the Vivek email quite easily by saying you were spending your day on the transgender sex chat room, sponsored by your taxpayer dollars. This is where employees would discuss things like genital castration, artificial vaginas, piss fetishes, sex polycules, which do you know what a sex polycule is? Are you familiar with that?
I think I had mine removed.
Have you looked it up? Because I have not.
It sounds like something that you.
They found that on your latest colonoscopy.
Is that
your
what
sex
compound
polycule?
W was for? I mean,
I know the next one. I know what a gangbang is.
Yeah, and gangbangs. So
this is what they did.
This is what they did, and
on your dime.
Chris Rufo put this out yesterday, and he writes, according to our sources, the sex chats were legitimized as part of the NSA's commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. Activists within the agency used LGBTQ plus employee resource groups.
Divided by
sex polycule. A polycule is a group of individuals involved in romantic, sexual, and platonic relationships that connect all the members in the group.
What?
Just so you're aware.
According to the current NSA employee, these groups spent all day recruiting activists and holding meetings with titles such as privilege, ally awareness, pride, and transgender community inclusion.
Ugh.
And all this was described because the NSA leadership declared that DEI was not only mission critical, but a mission imperative. So these people spent all day in the chat rooms, and here's some of the captured chats that they got. This is from, the date is
how gross are you going to get here?
November 1st of 2022.
As gross as we have to.
At 3:59 in the afternoon.
Prime work hour.
I mean, honestly, the rest is nice too. Wearing panties without worrying about anything showing, seeing my reflection in the mirror, wearing leggings, etc. But the pee thing is something I never thought of, but it's really nice. I'm going to be wearing leggings all day Friday and Saturday. I think about that last one probably the most. It's purely aesthetic, well, almost purely, and not being able to do some things I want. Mine is everything. I found that I like being penetrated, never like before.
Parents are listening.
But all the rest is just as important as well. All I can say is that this was 1,000,000% worth it. despite having to fly to Thailand to pay out of pocket. I would not change anything if I had to do it over again. But that's just me. Personally, everyone has to make their own decision.
So I guess they left something in Thailand.
I suppose.
I mean, they went to Thailand and came back a little lighter.
The conversation continues. That's the big thing for me, is being able to wear leggings or bikinis without having to wear a gaff underneath it. I don't know what a gaff is. Let's see. One of the weirdest things for me that gives me euphoria is when I pee. I don't have to push anything down to make sure it aims right. I wear leggings and bikini without a gaff.
Stop it.
Just because I know it won't show.
Stop.
So many little things that give me minor dysphoria will go away.
Can we just post these? Stop reading them, please. Because
this is what this is why they're on the job.
I know.
And one person talks about having
gaffs help you tuck safely and comfortably.
Oh, safety and comfortably. Well, that sounds very important.
I didn't know what it was either.
And one person was talking about when their butthole got lasered. I mean, how wonderful that was.
Jill was asking, "Where's HR and all this?"
Well, that's the thing. If you've worked in the private sector, or I would imagine even Jason, where your work,
you couldn't do that. You couldn't do that at Firehouse. You'd be fired.
I have been
definitely
since the mid 1980s. I've been working in the private sector.
He read it in a sexy voice. They think you might have a new gig coming up here.
That's sweet.
Trust me, I can get a lot more animated.
The sweet, sultry sounds of
Look,
Dan Carroll reading trans text messages.
And this is the
but I have
agency
been
that's these are intelligence agencies, and they're doing this shit on company time.
Yeah,
and it was
With
encouraged by the
resources.
Biden administration as necessary.
No question.
But if you're in the private sector,
that's
you have been lectured to.
Yeah.
You have had to watch video after video about how to conduct yourself in the workplace.
Right.
When it comes to
every year,
personal
Got
interaction,
to watch it.
You can't. Sexual harassment training,
right?
All that kind of stuff. You can't create a hostile work environment.
Right.
You can't do any of that stuff. But yet we have a government that encourages, and not only encourages, but says this is imperative behavior that we must have.
The very government that would be able to bring up on charges the people that in the private sector were violating this very policy that they are promoting on the government side, they are prosecuting on the public side, or they're prosecuting on the private side but promoting on the public side. Yeah, you're exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
And the left hates Rufo. They've been targeting Rufo. Rufo's come out with a lot of breaking news, especially regarding schools, and the left just loathes him. I know that the left hates him just passionately, especially your local leftists here hate the guy. But hey, listen, tell me again how there's no waste in government.
These trans employees discuss hair removal, estrogen treatments, and breast implants.
Yeah.
Getting my butthole zapped by a laser was shocking, said one trans identifying DIA. So that's defense.
Intelligence agency.
Defense Intelligence Agency. So this person works, I guess for the Pentagon, and is involved in defense. Medical science is going to give me tits one way or another, said a Navy Intel employee.
In the Navy.
So Joe
in the Navy.
Joe Billy said, "Is anyone really surprised this shit was tolerated by an administration and allowed pegging in the Capitol building?"
I think, remember that. Thank you, Joe.
Very fair.
I do.
She's 100% right.
Yeah, remember the
Oh,
video
shit.
of whatever happened to that. You know what? I bet that kid got a promotion. I mean, he probably got it's probably like a badge of honor that he was getting the gavel in the
Yeah, he's Doug Emhoff's fluffer now.
It probably is.
He was great.
You know what?
Grabbing a gavel and getting a gavel.
I'm not surprised by any of this. I am waiting for
fluffer preparing him for Kamala.
What I'm waiting for is and I know you guys are too, but I know we don't have a story on it, but I'm waiting. So I'll mention it anyway. I'm waiting for the Epstein files. I mean, that's what I'm kind of just got my.
What's the delay on all that?
I don't know.
Will you please tell me? I mean, look.
Can I give you my point? Because you're looking at Andrew like he fucking knows. knows.
No,
What is?
He doesn't know. I don't know.
no one knows.
But I think they're going through that list like with a fine-tooth comb to make sure that nobody in this administration is going to get fucked. Are they on it? I don't know.
Maybe.
Now, my brother and I were talking about this earlier today, and I said Trump would not have pushed so hard to get this.
He knows his
lists.
name's not on there.
So he knows his name's not on it, but they're not sure who else might be.
But
There
our
might be
buddy Eric
something.
Matheny put out a tweet earlier today, or X, whatever. I don't even know what you call him.
X.
But Matheny is great, and he said, look, if Trump's name was on that list, it would have been released 2 years ago.
Oh yeah.
Sure. No, I agree with that.
Yeah.
But
But I think they're going through everybody right now. Like
well, there was
they're vetting the whole
there was a
goddamn thing.
Republican congresswoman that tweeted. I
I
don't
just hope
remember her
Alina
name.
Hobbs is not on it because I like seeing her on TV.
When the Republican congresswoman
You know what I'm talking about?
did put out a tweet saying, you said you were going to release it. It's on your desk. Just release the damn thing. I fully want it to be released.
Come on,
because
Pam Bondi. Do it.
even if Republicans that I know and support are on it, I don't care. Release the list. I mean, Epstein was
Let the chips fall where they
ship
may.
fall where they may. Epstein was a pig. The man, how many children suffered greatly under that pig? And the royal family. I know at least, was it Prince Andrew?
Yeah, it was
Yeah, it's
Andrew.
one of them.
Did you know Elon Musk has 13 kids?
14 maybe. I think
Yeah,
14. I think 13 or 14. I think there's a 14th one. So, yeah, look, Musk. Let me tell you something. Musk,
Jesus,
my
you-
opinion.
You two have fucking Tourette's. You're
I know,
fucking
we're
all
all
over
over
the
the
place.
place.
fucking
Yeah, but
Well, he says
ADHD,
things, it
Tourette's.
jogs things in my
well,
mind.
but Musk, that's the left's critique of Musk. He's got 14 kids. He has no values. But Musk's weird hangup. I mean, one of his weird hangups. He's probably got several.
He's a weird son of a
He's
bitch.
a weird dude.
But you have to be that weird to be that smart.
And his argument is we are not procreating at a rate to keep the human race going.
He's doing his part.
And he is doing his part to break that curve. So he
Never
is,
let it be said he didn't do all he could do.
And you know what? He can, you know what, Dan?
Man amongst men.
Yeah, Jason, he can support those kids.
Absolutely.
He's got the coin that he can support those kids,
Yeah.
and those kids will
And
probably
that's-
not want for anything.
And that's where I appreciate him.
Yeah,
Because
so,
he
I
knows he can support
He
him,
can
so he's
support
doing
him.
it.
He's doing it. So he's not, and he doesn't hide it. He's like, look, we're not procreating enough. We need to have more kids. The human race is not going to be able to sustain itself. So he's out there just showing you how it's done.
I think that gal that's the leader of Spain is pretty hot to make a baby with him too.
Did you look at what's his name? Francois, the French first person?
What about him?
Interesting dude. I mean, it's an interesting. I just didn't know if you saw that.
Well, he was at the White House the other day.
Well, he was, and his first.
Was his
person-
wife there?
I don't know if he was. It was there.
Well,
I'm sure.
I
figured that's where
There's
he
some
was going.
speculation that
I figured that's where
he is not a
what-
she. He might be a member of the.
They're probably putting their keys in the fishbowl over at Chuck Schumer's office.
It's
or Pelosi's with the love hammer.
maybe
You got to bring the love hammer back
maybe,
in.
maybe the stage.
Oh
it might
my
be
God!
might be Big Mike Part 2.
All right, let's talk about our buddy Rick Barrick. And when it comes time to borrow money, doesn't matter who you are, there can always be questions. And we'd like you to consider our friend Rick Barrick. He has been helping customers, thousands of customers over the years, unlock, I should say, the financial potential of their homes. Rick's experience with Cross Country Mortgage, they team up to form the second largest mortgage company in America, and they can offer solutions for everyone who needs to borrow, whether it's a new home purchase, a refinancing, low interest home equity line of credit. Maybe you want to consolidate some debt. Rick has all the options tailored to your unique situation. And let's say maybe you've had a challenge with your credit score in the past. Talk to Rick and see how he can help you get on the right path. Check out the number. It's on your screen, 513-383-2923. And you can email Rick, rick.barrick@ccm.com. You do that, and you're just one step away from a personalized mortgage solution.
NMLS 18738. I didn't. Did you notice this? I didn't even look.
I know.
I
I know
did
you
not even
didn't.
look at the screen.
That's. I was watching you.
I didn't look at the screen.
It seems like the number's longer than that, but you say it so fast.
Just in the mirror.
You got-
Objects are larger.
Can you say it one more time with feeling?
18738. NMLS.
Well,
I don't even have that special speed up machine that you guys have on the radio.
I've never used one of those before.
The little compression machine.
Yeah.
So anyway,
It's amazing how that works.
how is Michigan there, Jason? You were up in Michigan doing something, right?
Yeah, we had our Warthog event that we have every February.
How was it?
It was very good, very well attended. It was a long weekend.
Were you in Detroit?
Technically Dearborn, but
Oh, you're in Dearborn. Yeah, south of Detroit.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we were at a
Dear-
very nice hotel.
Isn't that Dearbornistan where we got a lot of
Yeah, there is a lot. Every other restaurant up there. Actually,
That
I'll be fair. There's some good chow up there. I mean, seriously, there's some good chow. Everything's al kebab. Did you notice that as you were driving back?
yes.
Marik al kebab, Garden kebab, all these kebab places.
And
But they're really good.
that's essentially who runs the hotel, and they take great care of us.
Well, listen, they have. If you're ever up in Detroit, you go and you have the opportunity to go to one of those places. They have the best freaking marinated chicken meal you can have. Detroit's got good chow. I mean, Detroit is an interesting town, but it's got good chow.
I always love going up there every year. Everyone's like, "Oh, you're going to Detroit."
Don't get killed.
I'm like, I've been going up there long enough. I know where to go and where not to go.
Yeah, they've cleaned up. I mean, to be fair, by
Well, there was
necessity,
there was roughly 300 of us.
well, yeah, you guys are, and,
So it's
and
like-
who's going to mess with 300 men walking around? But no, the Detroit is the neighborhoods that were decimated by the policies of urban decay have been pretty much knocked down. I mean, seriously, they went in there with bulldozers and knocked that down. It's all been bought up by speculators.
Well,
now.
Joe Biden says he brought back Detroit. Joe Biden did it.
Joe
Well,
Biden-
let's not-
Come on, Andrew. Give some credit where credit is due.
Well, so-
let's
I mean-
not jump too far ahead.
so what are you guys?
I wouldn't say that.
Now, Dan mentioned that things are happening. We haven't been on the air or back here for a few days, and a lot has happened, and we can't cover it all by any stretch of the imagination. But if you had to pick out, and I know this is late in the program, but we got time. What would you say, since we've last been on air, has been your favorite development? Because so much is happening every day with this administration.
I love, me personally, the fact that while I was out of town, that Don Bongino is now going to be Kash Patel's number 2.
That is awesome.
I think that's absolutely amazing.
The meltdown, the liberal meltdown over that is just spectacular.
And that's something like I didn't grab that article just because we had so much other shit. Because as you guys send me stuff, I collect it and then put it in our podcast folder. And then when I set the show up, and I was like, shit, I didn't pull any Bongino stuff up. But I mean, Vivek being running for our governor for Ohio, that affects us. But we have listeners and watchers from all over the country. But Bongino, I think, is huge.
One of the great postings I saw on X over the weekend was a side-by-side picture. And on one side, you had Kash Patel. On the other side, you had Dan Bongino. And over Kash Patel's picture, they had the letters F.A.
Mm-hmm.
And then over Dan Bongino's picture, it said F.O. Which I thought summed it up just perfectly.
Yes.
And we didn't even, for the people out there watching, we didn't even discuss this coming into the show, but I want to let you know that's where I was going with what was your favorite thing that happened. This administration every day is doing things that is moving at light speed. And Dan Bongino being appointed as deputy director of the FBI, I think is amazing. And I think
I wasn't sure he was going to take it.
Well, why not?
I just wasn't sure because I mean, when they originally wanted him to take Cash's spot, and he was like, "I don't want to do that." And
Well-
that was 2-3 months ago.
He's taken a hell of a pay cut to do it.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
it's funny how the left and the press refer to him as a podcaster. That's all he's done. He's only about podcasting.
That's all
That's all he's ever done. Podcast. Well, he was in the Secret Service under Obama,
Yes,
and he was, I believe, a New York police officer.
Correct.
He was New York City police
That is
officer.
correct.
So, but so these
He's
are
got
things-
he's got a master's from CUNY,
Yeah.
which is no slouch of an institution.
Yeah.
Academically,
I never slouch.
only on the half side.
but it's not that it was my favorite thing. The firing, I think, of the Joint Chiefs of Staff was classic.
Oh,
But overall for me, it's been the meltdown. I was so entertained this weekend just reading the reactions of people who just could not, just couldn't take the idea that Trump actually fired. the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, and acting as if Trump is out of control. He's a madman. It's a massacre. And then someone posted the headline where Obama fired 159 top military leaders for what? To fit his political agenda.
Why is this? My brother and I were saying this exact same thing earlier today, and again, we haven't talked about this. Why is this so different? Why is it so different that
because the shoe's on the other
a
foot.
new administration comes in and tries to fit there? It's not different.
But they want to make it different.
Obama did the same thing with Doge.
Exactly.
It just wasn't called Doge.
Which is why Doge, the way they set it up, was brilliant because it can't be challenged. And the other thing is that Dan's right. The meltdown of the left has been the most delicious thing to watch at all.
It's been awesome.
I love so far. Did you see the reaction? We can play it next time. But when, my brain just shut off. But Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth would be asked a question, and he just rejected it out of hand. He said, "That's just a fake question. I'm not even going to bother entertaining it." And I mean, this is the kind
he's not going to cower, and
and
they're so used to people in positions like that to cower and acquiesce to the media, and this administration is not about that.
And seeing Pete Hegseth being greeted by these generals when he gets off the plane, and he's giving a sharp salute, not some lazy hand wave, and he's given a sharp salute, and then they greet each other with such enthusiasm, and you could see the love that the troops have, not only the ground troop, the grunts per se, the enlisted
guy's
folks.
A warrior.
These people are greeting him, and the respect they have for him is just so visible, and it's so refreshing to see. I'm so pleased with where we've gone so far. I did have somebody walk by my house the other day, and he said, "I think he's going too far, too fast." And I said, "You know what? I disagree with that, because I think the man has, and he realizes that he literally has 6 months, because these guys are up for re-election. 2 years comes by so quickly. They're all going to be in re-election mode here shortly. He's got about 6 months, maybe 9 months to get a lot of this stuff accomplished."
So you asked about my weekend, and being so close to Canada, our club has
Did you go
multiple chapters in Canada that were there.
What about the language barrier?
I made sure that I seeked out as many Canadian brothers that I could tell were there.
And you asked them what they thought.
And asking them, and we were talking politics.
Yeah.
Normally we're there just to have a good time, whatever, but this is big time.
Any Trudeau fans in the mix?
Not a fucking one.
How about that?
Not a fucking one.
None of them like Castro's bastard job?
Not a single one.
Really?
They were like, "We love what Trump's doing."
So they're good with being the 51st state?
America's hat.
We didn't go that far. I didn't go that far down the fucking wormhole, but they're like, what's happening right now shouldn't be happening. You guys, Trump is coming in, and to your point, he's moving at light speed. And we've got to figure some things out, but we're on board. These are law enforcement.
There has not been an administration that's had a cabinet approved this fast in history. He's got all his people. Now, yes, you did have what's his face from Florida withdraw his nomination, but everyone else was approved.
Matt Gaetz.
Yeah, Gaetz.
Yeah.
Gaetz, let's be fair, Gaetz was a weird dude.
Yeah. And he needed to.
I saw somewhere that he's being appointed to something else within an administration, maybe an investigative role, in one of the agencies.
Yeah, he's going to be good at that too.
But I'm pleased, and I want it to continue. I don't want to get mired down. We have a lot of information that's going to be coming out. Obviously, we're going to be covering news stories every day. But this material, we can't even get to everything that we want to cover, because that's how fast this stuff is happening. And I'm happy, and I hope everyone else out there is happy as well. I will say, I think the next big thing. I think he said something about taking over the post office. I thought he said he was going to.
The post office is a lot more complicated because of the foundation of the post office, the way it's set up, the laws that surround it. He wants to put it under the Commerce Department, but I read an article saying that the post office itself is actually larger than the Commerce Department. So that would be a kind of a tail wagging the dog situation. But he wants to make the post office profitable again.
Wouldn't that be nice?
But I think to actually put that under the executive branch is a lot more complicated than on the face of it. So
how much money did the post office lose last year? How many billions?
I don't know. It's a
$2
lot.
to $5 billion.
It's a lot. Well, they wanted to buy some electric vehicles, and
they redesigned their vans.
Yeah.
I just saw that.
that didn't work out very well.
How about that story? And we'll get to it next show. But I mean, how about the story? Remember the electric buses? How they're all touting the electric buses, and the Biden administration gave, I think it was $160 billion, $1 million. I can't remember. We'll quote it. Don't quote me on the figure, but they gave it to a Canadian company. They front paid them for all these buses. And what did the Canadian company do? Delivered bankrupt. Like 5 and then went bankrupt.
Yeah. Well, there was a truck company that just did the same thing last week called Nikola.
Yeah.
And my favorite part of the story was the guy that headed up the company put out a false valuation of the company, and at one point the company had a valuation of $30 billion, and so they sold stock based on that. So all this money's out there. They didn't get huge government subsidies, but what they had set up was subsidies that came from the state on individual units. So like if you bought one of these trucks from this company, like in California, you got a $388,000 kickback on just one unit. But at one point, it was so bad they were trying to make a video of their trucks in action and all this.
Oh
stuff.
Yeah, and it didn't run.
The truck wouldn't work, so they had it towed to the top of a hill.
Let it glide down,
and they had it roll down this hill, and they took video of the truck, saying, "Oh, look at our truck! Look how great it is."
She purrs like a kitten.
so quiet. It's almost like it's not running.
You can't make that shit up.
No, and I mean this is going to go down. Listen, all this shit from the Biden, and this is all from the Biden administration. And all this crap, all this gruff, he doesn't like it over there. All this corruption, all this graft is going to come to light, and I'm just going to enjoy the show. I'm just going to enjoy the show.
The heavy lifting is yet to be done because Congress is going to have to start passing some legislation.
Tonight, they're trying to pass a budget.
Yeah, and there's already, members of and I don't know why, but they're flaking out. And they're showing their true colors.
You know, the one thing about the budget discussion, which pisses me off, which maybe you touched on your show, and I don't know if you did. I'm sorry. So we're at the pre-COVID federal budget was like don't quote me on the numbers here because I don't have them in front of me, but it was like somewhere around $5 billion. Okay. And
I mean, trillion.
Yeah. And then I'm sorry. You're right. So don't quote me on that. Just a couple of zeros. But
and like a true Democrat.
Post-COVID, after COVID, because of COVID, they jumped up to like $7.6 trillion. Do you realize that they haven't gone back to the pre-COVID spending levels because they're like, now they're acting like, oh, well, we'll go to 7.4 trillion and that's a cut. Why are we even having this argument? Why are we not back at the $5 trillion level? Why are we letting them have this discussion? I mean, to be fair, you said, okay, well, they have heavy lifting to do. Yeah. If we can't agree to go back to the pre-COVID, why are we at the post-COVID? COVID's over, right?
As far as I know, it is.
That's
right. I mean, I heard there's a new one coming. I heard that they said there's some new bat disease, and I mean, what is with the fucking bats over there? But I mean, at the end of the day,
I saw Fauci on some podcast the other day saying, "Oh, this could be a bad one."
I hope he gets it.
This could be a bad one.
And the fact that he thinks anybody's going to fucking believe a word.
That guy. And let me ask you, what you mentioned earlier. You said something about a laser butt hair removal.
I was in the chat room. I wasn't part of.
Right. Well, you seem to be kind of adept on the subject, but anyway,
I just read it.
Pull your schedules that way. You guys are fucking rambling.
You know whose butt is probably puckering more than anybody's right now. We talked about Bongino being appointed. How do you think Adam Schiff feels right about that?
Oh God,
Shifty Schiff. Shifty Schiff is gonna be just investigated 5 ways to Sunday, and I cannot wait to see what happens with him.
His face does look a little like a sphincter. Now that I think about it.
You know what? It does. It's hard to tell which end's up. He needs a shirt that says this end up because it's hard to tell.
What's your Friday look like, fellas? Live on the air. What's your Friday?
I can do something Friday.
I can remote in Friday.
All right, Friday. We'll be back. We'll be back around 5:00 Friday. We'll get you exact time. But I love pulling them out live on air.
Don't be late.
Make sure they don't look at their phones and they talk too much before we start. So we never are able to get a good schedule out. So we'll be back Friday. But everybody, we appreciate you being here. Please,
nice to be back.
Please, dude, it is very, very good to be back. Please download the audio. Make sure you hammer the like button on this one. and subscribe, and tell at least one person to subscribe to the YouTube. And let's get this thing going, man.
See you next time.
See ya.
Oh.